any other colors watching this video. We are on part 4 of our Artist Girl in Hannah Lynn's I Dream in Color. And in this part of the video, we're hopefully going to be finishing the rest of the details in the background. So hopefully the paintbrushes, the clouds, the butterfly, and the wording. That'll hopefully be it, and then I'm thinking we'll do skin and background in the next video. Or depending on how we are for time, I might even include the skin in this part and then do the background just in the next video. We'll have to see how it goes. So I'm not 100% sure. I feel like the background's going to take a while. If you guys remember, we're thinking about doing a gradient in grays, so just have to see how it goes. I could use my swatches for this video. I don't think I'm going to, though. I think I'm just going to state the colors again, just to kind of make it easier and go a little bit faster. Yeah, let's just dive into it. Let's not worry about swatches for this one. We'll use swatches for the skin and the background. So, okay, where are we going to start? Let's start on these paintbrushes here. So I think what we're going to do with the handles of the paintbrushes is we're just going to do browns, and let's see, I'm going to make one a little bit of a reddish brown and then one more of a rich brown. So I'm actually going to grab out, let's grab Tuscan Red. Maybe some terracotta, some burnt ochre, and then maybe some dark umber for our shadows. I gotta be careful with my babies. I almost dropped my pencil. Yeah, baby? Okay, you just wait, okay? One second. Okay, little man situated. I got myself a glass of water and let's dive into this. I'm also going to say don't mind my nails. They are really chipped up. Today is the day this polish is coming off, but I wanted to record before doing all that because I don't know when my hubby's going to be home. So I'm going to start off with the burnt ochre, and I'm going to start on this paintbrush. I'm just going to give it a light layer of the burnt ochre. And this part of the brush here, actually let's color in just this bottom part up to the first line. And then this part here is just going to be metal. So we're not going to have to worry too much about that. So now let's switch to our terracotta. And I'm just going to put a layer of this on either side and then fade it off as we get closer to the center of the paintbrush. And then I'm just going to color over this whole area here. Next, let's grab our Tuscan Red, and I'm just going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to start off on the sides. I'm using a slightly firmer pressure, and I'm going to fade it off a little sooner. And actually, this I think is dark enough for our shadows, so I'm going to go back in with a firm pressure, really getting that color in there and fade it out. We're not going to put the other color over top of this. So I'm just going to totally color in this area here. And then what I'm going to do is just going to put a little bit of a shadow on the corner of this paintbrush. And maybe just slightly where it's coming out from behind her dress as well. So next we'll switch back to the terracotta and we will blend that into the Tuscan red. Fade it out. And same with up here, I'm just going to put a tiny touch in there. And then we're going to switch to our burnt ochre and finish that off. There we go. So let's look at this little tiny one here. I think I'm just going to use my burnt ochre and I'm just going to color that in. Just like that. So next, this bigger one here. I'm going to use dark umber on that. And maybe some espresso. That's a pencil that I don't really use very often. So let's grab that out. I don't even know where that one is. What is that near? Oh, that is near the dark umber. Okay. No, that's not it. Oh, this would be this one here. Okay, there we go. That is how often I use that pencil. I wasn't even sure where it was in my pencil case. Okay, so we got dark umber, we got espresso, and maybe let's go with a chocolate and sandbar brown. And I'm just going to sharpen up my espresso pencil here. So let's start off with our darkest color, which is our dark umber. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very carefully just kind of come in along the sides. Just very, very lightly, not too far away from that line at all. Basically just making the line a little thicker. Just like that, and we're not going to go over this little square here. That's again going to be the metal part that holds the bristles. So next we'll switch to espresso, and I'm just going to lightly go over the dark umber and then bring it out just slightly. Again, not too far. Very careful down here. So next let's switch to our chocolate, which I'm just going to fill in this smaller area down here with the chocolate. And up here, just going to kind of blend it in, and I'm going to try to leave just a sliver of white for our sandbar brown. Sandbar brown now, let's fill that in. Kind of lightly blend everything together. I'm not pushing too hard, just firm enough to slightly get rid of the white lines that are left behind. And then I'm going to switch back to the dark umber, and I'm just going to go back over where we did before with it, just to kind of bring the darkness back to make the shadows look a little more prominent. And I accidentally went out to the lines there. Let's see, where is my eraser? So maybe you guys watching this would be able to help me out with something here. I have a decision to make. I will eventually get all this stuff in the future anyways, but for now, I've been sitting on a little bit of cash so I can get a $50 prepaid card, and I've been debating between a few books. Hold on, kiddo. Let me just choose colors here for the metal. I think we're gonna go with, let's grab Cool Gray 70, maybe 30, 10, and white. And these need to be sharpened. So the ones I was thinking of is I was thinking of pre-ordering Maui Mermaids. I haven't done that yet. And that's one of Hannah's books, of course. So I was thinking about doing that. But if I go that route, I'm going to wait to place my order until her new Fairy Tale Princess book is listed. I'm not sure when that's going to be released. She's aiming for sometime this month, but knowing Canadian Amazon, it's not going to be listed till next month. So I will probably actually wait until after Christmas, or maybe try and catch some sales on Boxing Day. Let's start off with the 70% Cool Gray here. I'm just going to go in along the side here and, oh, pardon my voice, and just a little bit on the side where it comes out from behind the dress. So if I do that, I'd get those two books and then kind of fill in with whatever else. 30% gray. I'm just going to blend into this. A couple of the other books that I was looking at were Jasmine Beckett Griffith's book, the New Mermaids one, or even the Halloween one, because I don't have that one yet. There was a grayscale one that I was looking at, but the idea of grayscale kind of scares me. Let's just go in with our 10% and just color this in lightly, and then we're just going to go over it with our white just to kind of lighten it up a little bit more. So another thing I was thinking of doing, because I know I'm going to get all of Hannah's books eventually anyways, and being in Canada, there's a little bit of a wait for them. I've been kind of looking at these Gansai Tambi watercolors. We're going in with 70% Cool Gray here. And for this, I'm just going to go from the 70% straight to the 10% and just kind of fill that in, because that's a really tiny metal area. And then that's it for our metals. Can't remember what I was saying. Had to go help my little one. But, what are we going to do for these bristles? I'm thinking more of kind of like a yellowish tone. So I'm actually going to grab out the bronze, I think. And maybe some green ochre. If I can find that. Okay, that's right there. That needs to be sharpened. And one more. Maybe some artichoke. Let's see, bronze, green ochre. Yeah, let's go with artichoke. And I'm going to have some decent points on my pencils because we're going to be doing some thin lines to make them look like bristles. So I'm going to start in with the green ochre, and I'm basically just going to start flicking it upwards, just like we do on hair. So the thing that I'm really intrigued on these Gansai Tambi watercolors is because they're so cheap, and they have amazing reviews. A lot of people say they're really good pigmented watercolors, and I feel like they would be awesome for adult coloring and just other art stuff in general. Especially for doing galaxy backgrounds. But another thing I'm thinking about doing is saving up for the 40 set of Neocolor 2s, which are basically water-soluble crayons. We're going to switch to the bronze now. Do just the exact same thing. So yeah, the Neocolor 2s are water-soluble crayons, and basically work kind of like Inktense or like watercolor pencils do. You just kind of lay the color down on the page, and then you can activate it with water, or, you know, just use the crayon itself and activate it from there. But yeah, I'm having a tough time choosing what I want to do. Okay, next we're going to switch to artichoke and do the exact same thing. I will probably end up waiting anyways, because maybe I can get some stuff on sale just after Christmas here. Usually Amazon will have a big sale. But yeah, if you guys want to give me your opinions, if any of you have the Gansai Tambi watercolors or the Neo colors too and want to tell me how what you think of them, that would be awesome. Okay, so I'm actually going to take my artichoke, don't mind my little man back there, and I'm just going to go over this paintbrush again just because there's a little bit more white left than I want. There we go. That's better. And I just noticed that I forgot another leaf here. So I'm not going to include this color in the list of colors at the front, but I believe we were using lime peel for those. I don't think I missed anything else, but it's hard to say. Okay, so now we have another decision to make. I hate decisions, I'm so bad at making them. So, you know what, let's skip the clouds for now, because I don't know what I'm going to color those in with. But this butterfly, you said that we were going to do the same color as the same colors as the water down here. So let's grab those colors out. Oh no. I didn't write those colors down. Okay, so what colors were those? Process red for sure. Okay. Process red. Pink. Oh, it was from my Mythomorphia page. So, okay, process red, pink, salmon pink, and deco yellow. So I might throw a few other colors into this butterfly here, but for the most part, majority is going to be with this color, these colors. Just because the butterfly has the paint dripping into the puddles, so we're just kind of going to go with that. So the decision that I was talking about earlier is I'm not sure if I want these clouds to be the same color as well, or if I want to do them a little bit differently. It's hard to say. I might do them the same color, maybe just add a little bit more of a purple tone to them or something, I'm not sure. So, I'm going to start off with the process red, and I'm just going to start in, I'm going to avoid this little section here, so I'm just going to color around it, and I'm just going to start off coloring fairly dark in towards the, this part of the butterfly. I'm going to fade it out. And for each of these, I'm going to try and avoid these little things here. I think we're going to do purple on those or something. So I'm using a fairly firm pressure, but I'm not burnishing the page. Definitely helps to have a sharper pencil. Then you can get the color on the page a lot easier without having to press so hard. I don't mind my child, he's probably getting killed by monsters on Minecraft. Okay. Next I'm going to switch to the pink, and I'm just going to blend that into the process red and blend it out just before here. Not so loud, kiddo. Okay, next we're going to switch to the salmon pink, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to color up to these little areas here and just a little bit past them. So we're going to kind of outline them and then fade it out from there. And the very tips of the wings are going to be with the yellow. Carbon, that's enough, please. Okay, so I know where our yellow is going to go, so I'm just going to stop there for a second, and I think what this butterfly needs is a little bit of bluish purple. So kind of like the same colors that we have on the mushroom, so I'm going to grab one of my favorite pencils, which is Dioxazine Purple Hue, and maybe another one too. Let's see here. Thinking maybe Imperial Violet, or even maybe Parma Violet, or just normal violet. Let's go with normal violet. There's just so many options. Okay. I'm just going to sharpen this quick. Okay. So I'm actually going to start off with the Dioxazine Purple Hue, and I'm just going to start on the tips of these things here, and I'm just going to kind of use a flicking motion to fade the pencil out. I'm also going to just put a little bit of this on the right side of the butterfly and fade it out a little bit. And then we're going to switch to the violet, which I'm going to just do the opposite. I'm going to start in on this side and I'm going to flick it towards the dioxazine purple hue. And then we'll switch them a little back and just bring that dioxazine purple hue up a little bit more. And then I'm actually going to take my white and just color from the tip in a little bit, fading it off as you get closer to the dioxazine purple hue. So what this is going to do is it's just going to make a kind of pastel looking violet color. So I'm going to grab my violet here as well, and I'm going to try to leave just a thin layer of white on the left side of the butterfly there. And then I'm going to go in with my white on that left side and just kind of fade it in just a little bit. Okay, also using the violet, I'm going to, because this wing, the bottom wings are coming out from under the top wings, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of violet in the corners where they come out. Then we'll switch back to the processed red, and now I'm using a fairly firm pressure. I'm going to start really layering that color in there. Next we'll switch to the pink, bring it in on the processed red just a little bit. And then bring it out towards the salmon pink just a little bit as well, just to help blend the colors together. I'm trying to think of what colors we're going to use for the wording. Let's switch to our salmon pink. I was actually thinking that we might use the colors from the mushroom here, more in the, I think more on the purple side. We'll have to see. I almost want to do the wording last, I think. Okay. So next I'm going to go in with my Deco Yellow on the tips here. Just going to blend those in. I'm going to put a little bit just on the other side of this. Actually, yeah, let's go over this whole thing. just lightly. Just to kind of really bring out that yellow tint to the colors. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of the violet and I'm just going to, let's see, our shadows are mostly, our lighting is mostly coming from this way, so I'm going to put some violet just in along here and on the bottom. Same as on this one, and maybe just very little bit on this one. Okay, and then we're going to switch to our process red. And I'm just going to blend into that violet, and I'm going to bring the process red all the way up on the left side. I'm going to bring it up to right about here, because we're going to try and fade into that yellow. I'm going to put a little bit on this side as well, and then over here. So while we're doing this anyways, let's come down here a little bit. Gonna do the outlines on these other random droplets as well. Okay. So after that, we're going to switch to our pink, and I'm not going to put too much of the pink in. I'm just going to very lightly go over the process red. And I'm just going to fade it out just a little bit. I'm going to bring it up a little bit further past here. And then just little bits on these droplets, trying to keep it to the left side because we want the yellow to be more dominant on the right side to show the highlights. So next with the salmon pink, just a little bit of that. On these smaller ones, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of salmon pink to the left if I can. But those will mostly just be yellow. So I'm going to fade this salmon pink into the yellow here, and I've also left a very thin line for the deco yellow to go on. I'll do the same thing for this one here. Next we'll switch to the deco yellow, and we're just going to go very firmly on the highlighted areas and then just kind of lightly fade it in over everything else. And we should also be cleaning off our pencil occasionally, just because it gets that red on there. Okay, I'm really digging how that looks. I'm going to just color in this little spot yellow too. And I think that's pretty good for that side. All these little other paint blobs here, I want to kind of try and mix in some of the colors from down here just to kind of create some symmetry. I don't really know how to explain it, but basically when you're coloring a page, and I'm going to try to remember who I heard or learned this from too. I want to say that it was Peter Hewitt, but I could be wrong. But basically, anytime you're creating art, you want to use kind of like, you want to limit your colors and use a lot of the same colors throughout the piece, which just kind of makes everything flow nicely together. So you're not just going to have like a lot of blue down here and then just purple up here. Because it's not really going to look, like, unless you're going for that look, but it's not going to look cohesive. So if you want the whole page to kind of flow together, you want some of the same colors here as at the top, and, you know, you just kind of want everything to be unanimous. So, I think since we decided that the lettering is going to be in similar colors as the mushrooms, and the only green I want up here is, I think we're going to do her eyes green. So we'll probably do her eyes the same green that we did for the bushes. And put a few other colors up there. So yeah, let's stick with these colors for the clouds too, I think. So normally when I do clouds, usually I'll have the bottoms darker, and this is with watercolor, so we're not going to really be able to achieve this look, but it'll still look pretty good. So usually I'll have the bottoms darker, but I don't know if I want the bottoms to be darker for these. Maybe I do actually. I think yeah, we'll do the bottoms of the clouds darker. That way it'll be like a nice contrast to the butterfly, I think. And we'll use a little bit more of the purples in these clouds too, which will kind of tie in with the mushroom as well. So we're going to start off with the dioxazine purple hue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick on the left side and just kind of outline the lines. I'm going to stick to the outside and the bottom, and I'm just going to just very slightly fade it out. Under these little things here, I want those to stand out, so I'm going to go underneath those with the dioxazine purple hue as well. You're hungry. You just ate.
Huh? What?
It's not lunchtime yet, kiddo. You're gonna have to wait. Oh, do you want some veggie sticks?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. One second.
But, Tom...
Okay, I'm back. So we're just gonna keep going along the left sides. Left and the bottom. So parts like this I actually would probably kind of keep light, I think. I will anyways, just because it'll create some contrast. I'm going to bring this up here a little bit. And then for the most part, the top of the cloud is going to be light. I'm going to come in behind this little curly part here to create a shadow. And then this part here would have a little bit of a shadow. I'm going to bring this up to about there. And the rest of that I think would be light. And then for this one, pretty much the same thing. Oh, there's something scratchy in my pencil. I can feel it scratching the paper. I don't know what it was, but hopefully it's gone. I'm going to leave this side. This side's kind of exposed to our light source, which would be over here. So I'm going to leave this light and this light, but just the bottom coming up would be a little bit darker. Okay. So next we're going to switch to our violet, and just kind of going to go into the dioxazine purple a little bit, using a fairly firm pressure. Not enough to completely burnish the page though. I'm probably still going to go back in with the dioxazine again just to darken up the shadows. And smaller areas like here, I'm just going to go over top of the dioxazine purple hue and just kind of blend it out just slightly. We've got lots of colors to fit into there. We'll skip colors if we need to. And I think we're going to have to, at least for this one, so you'll see what I mean by that if you don't know already. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a white line here for the process red, which is going to make just this little area look a little bit lighter. So it's going to show that there's two different shadows here, which will just kind of make it look a little bit more interesting, I think. So everywhere we put that dioxazine purple, we're also putting the violet. Okay, so I think that's looking good. And next we're going to go in with the process red. And now I'm just going to start kind of lightly mapping out the colors. So I'm not going to use much of a firm pressure at all. I'm just kind of going to put it in there. I'm not really fading it out either. Since I'm just mapping the colors, we don't really need to yet. These clouds make me a little nervous just because they're so different than the normal clouds. Because I have a certain look that I kind of see for them, but I'm not really sure how to achieve it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to switch to my yellow, and I'm just going to just pop a little bit of it in where I want it. So there's not going to be too much yellow in this. There's going to be a little bit, but for the most part the clouds are going to be fairly dark, which is really going to make that yellow pop. So for the most part, that's pretty much about all it's going to be yellow. Maybe let's bring it in a little bit here. Maybe like to there. We wanted yellow up there, but that's okay. Okay, so now I can see where the highlights are and the shadows. I think a lot of the purple on this side, I'm actually going to bring it out a little bit more. So let's go back in with that, the dioxazine purple hue. And now I'm using a fairly firm pressure. I'm pretty certain I know what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to start burnishing the shadows. So I have this part here. I'm actually going to come in with the dioxazine purple hue, but I'm going to have it taper off here. We're going to fade it into a different color. One out of the lines again. I'm just going to kind of come and darken up just some of these shadows as well. If you guys haven't noticed, these are like my favorite colors right now for some reason. Ever since I used them on Victoria's dress, I have been obsessed with them. Because then, of course, I had to use it on my mushrooms in Mythomorphia and now this page. But they're just so pretty, and it's just such an odd combination that it just works really well. So I'm going to bring this out a little bit more. Then we're going to switch back to our violet, and I'm just going to go over a little bit of the dioxazine purple hue just to kind of help blend that out. I think I'm actually kind of liking the looks of having just that little bit of white in the cloud. If you can, I don't know if it shows up on camera. I can see it in person. Usually on camera the white looks like it's gone when it's really not. But there's just a little speckle of white left in the clouds, and I'm actually really liking that. It just makes them look like they have a cool texture. So I might try and preserve a little bit of the white flecks if I can. So I'm going to come up here with my violet, and I'm just going to kind of bring it down just a touch more. Not too much. I'm actually going to bring that around, I think, just like that. Because, let's see, right about here. Let's just put in some violet here. Okay, so going back in with my Deco Yellow, I want a little bit of some yellow accents on these little ones here, just so they pop out a little bit more. So for these, I'm actually just going to go in with the salmon pink. And just kind of bring those up a little bit. I'm going to come in where the yellow is. Just kind of show where that's going to be blended out. Not using a hard pressure at all. Okay, let's go back in with our process red. This is going to be process red coming out of there. And a little bit there. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. So let's focus on this cloud for now, and then we'll do the other one. I think we're going to omit the pink completely. We're not going to use this pencil. We're going to leave that out. Okay, how do I want to do this? Let's go back in with the violet, and we'll just keep just darkening up some of these shadowed areas and then fading it out just so it's a little bit easier to blend in. I'm going to bring it in like that and just kind of fade it out. Okay, and then we're going to go in with the processed red, and we're going to go in on the violet a little bit. I'm going to save just the tip of this little part here. I'm going to put in some salmon pink there, I think. So hopefully you guys can gather what I'm doing just by watching, because I can't really explain what I'm doing. I mean, I can try, but it's a little tricky. So I don't like the harsh line on this purple here, so I'm going to go back in with the violet, and I'm going to try and just blend it in a little bit more with the processed red, just so it doesn't look so harsh. And I'm finding that this violet is really tricky to blend with. I just feel like some of the pencils in this set just aren't as smooth as the others, and I find that this purple is one of those. I might actually have to use a blender pencil here if I can't get this to blend with the pencils itself. I'm just going to keep going over. I think we're getting somewhere now. So I'm just going to use the processed red to push back this violet a little bit. And then coming off of the violet, it's going to be straight processed red. Okay, so coming up from here is going to be processed red. So I'm going to connect this little part in with the rest up here. I'm going to try and fade it out a little bit here. And then also a little bit here as well. I'm bring it down here though. And we'll also fade it out a little bit right here and on this side as well. Just going to put a little bit more processed red in with the purple here.
Mommy.
What, baby?
No, please.
I don't know what you're saying. You shouldn't talk with food in your mouth.
Okay.
Silly.
No, please, Mommy.
What are you saying? Don't touch my pencils.
Daddy Tom bring a grandma.
No, honey, Farm Grandma's busy today.
Oh, how do she grandma?
Well, we'll see Farm Grandma sometime this week. Don't worry.
Oh no, Daddy bring.
Yeah, Daddy will take us. Go on. Thank you.
Oh, that's pretty, Mommy.
So I'm just going to keep going in here a little bit more with the salmon pink. Just to kind of blend a little bit into that processed red. And then all of these areas where it's yellow, we're going to want to put a little bit of the salmon pink to just kind of help blend that into the yellow so it's not such a harsh transition. I'm going to keep cleaning my pencil off because there's lots of dark colors in here. Okay, I'm going to use a fairly firm pressure to kind of blend into this little area here. And then bring this up along here. Blend into the processed red a little bit and then blend out towards the yellow. Switch back to the processed red. And we're just going to keep building up our layers here. And I think I am going to have to use a blending pencil. That's okay. Let's go back to the salmon pink. All in behind the hair here. I'm just going to make that the salmon pink, and then switching to our deco yellow. We're going to have deco yellow up here. blend that in a little bit more.
Mama.
Yes, he's up. I see that. And, oh, I forgot about this little spot here. So let's switch to the salmon pink. Actually, let's leave just a little tip of that there for the deco yellow. I'll just put a little bit of that in there. So I think that looks pretty awesome, and you know, we probably could just keep blending this. But I am going to go in with my blending pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, first I'm going to clean that off because I didn't last time. There is blue on it. Okay, so I'm going to sharpen this to a really fine point. Okay, and I'm going to start in on the lighter areas. So I'm going to start with the yellow, and I'm going to use just very small circular motions. And I'm just going to blend into the next lightest color. I'm going to constantly be cleaning my pencil off areas like this. I'm just going to start with the yellow, and I'm just going to blend straight into the darker areas. And for the most part, I'm always going to be blending into the shadows. Sorry there, I had to do something. So next I'm going to just kind of start in on these little yellow areas, and I'm also going to blend those upwards. For now, aside from these drops, the only areas I've blended into are the yellow ones and the salmon pink. Let's start here with the salmon pink, just on the other edge of it. And I'm just going to try and blend that into the processed red the best that I can. Just using really small circular motions. We're going to blend that processed red into the violet here. Where did... Oh, there it is. My brush go. We're going to start here and start blending into the processed red there, and then here as well. Oh no. I always forget. Never really matters because they're single-sided, but I'm pressing down super hard and I don't want to wreck the next page. I might have already, hopefully not. Thankfully, that's not one of my absolute favorites, so I'll just use Inktense for that one, and then I don't have to worry about tooth. Okay, so that's pretty much blended for the most part. The only thing I don't really like is this, it kind of has like a little bit of a line here. I'm going to try and kind of blend in circles. Oh, no, no, no. I thought I cleaned that off. Okay. I'm going to try to blend in circles going this way, just to kind of blend that out a little bit more. Just very lightly because I've already pretty much burnished the paper. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better, and we almost had a crisis there, but we avoided it. So, I didn't do this one here. We had our, I think our dioxazine purple hue in there. I'm going to add a little bit of the red, and then just a little bit of the yellow, and I'm just going to leave it just like that. And seeing how that looks, I am probably going to come in and I'm going to blend this mushroom a little bit more with my blender pencil. I'll probably do that in this video, but I'll speed that part up. But let's continue on with this. So I'm going to put a little bit of the yellow in on this side here. And then I'm going to switch to my process red, and I'm just going to make this layer here a little darker. And you know what, this whole part of the cloud is just going to be processed red. Oh, sorry guys. I don't know what is wrong with my throat. I should never quit smoking. I feel so much better without it, but I don't know what is wrong with my throat. I always get super groggy like this in the mornings, and that's usually when I record because my husband's usually at work in the mornings. Okay, so let's switch to our salmon pink. Let's just kind of blend in a little bit where the yellow is. There we go, just like that. And we're going to switch to our yellow, and I'm going to blend into the salmon pink a little bit. And then back to our process red. And our violet. And then I'm just going to use my blender pencil for this too. But here, I'm actually going to, I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to start in the shadows. And I'm going to try and kind of bring those up a little bit more. And same with here, I'm going to start in the shadow here. And pull it up into the process red. Here though, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to start in the process red, and I'm going to pull it out towards the shadow. And then same with down here. You're going to blend into the shadow as well. go, and that is that cloud finished. And I think I'm just going to, should we leave the mushroom or should we burnish it? Let's burnish it. So we're at about an hour and 12 minutes, give or take, so that's not too bad. So what I'm trying to decide now is, we're not going to finish up all the details in this, just because there's just so many little tiny ones left, like all these little paint splatters and stuff. So I think what we're going to do is, we're just going to finish up the lettering, all these little paint splatters and the paint splotches up here on this part of the butterfly. We'll do in the next part. We might actually just do the background in the finishing part. We'll see how it goes, but let's just get this wording done since we already have the colors out we're going to use for it anyways. So I'm just going to take a peek at the wording I did here. So what I did for the words here is I kind of did a gradient in gray. If you can kind of see that. So I think for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to do a gradient with the colors. So in some of these, we're not going to be able to fit every single color in here. So the colors I'm going to use is the dioxazine. I'm going to cut out the violet. We're not going to use that. We'll use the processed red, the salmon pink, and the yellow. So those are the colors that we'll use. And my yellow is a little dirty here. Okay. And I'll be right back. Okay, we should be able to do this in 2 frames. So we're going to start on these 3 words. So I'm going to start in with the dioxazine purple hue, and I'm just going to start on the bottom here. I'll leave it just about like that, kind of fade it up a little bit, just a tiny bit in the V, a little bit in the E. Using a fairly firm pressure with this, and then just fading up where I think I'm going to switch colors. Which you got to keep in mind, we still have 4 colors to fit in here, even though we got rid of a couple. So next I'm going to start in with the processed red, and I'm just going to kind of blend that in with the dioxazine purple hue. And on the E here, I'm going to let it fade off just at the tip there. This E, I'm just going to color in the whole bottom of that. The R, there's not going to be much at all. This one here, I'm going to kind of color just up to the tip with the processed red. And then I'm just going to leave just a very thin line here at the very top here. Same with here, I'm going to try to leave just a little bit at the top, just on this part here. Switch to the salmon pink, and I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to fade it into the processed red, and then we're just going to try to leave a little bit at the tops for the deco yellow. Okay, on this Y here, we're going to put in the salmon pink. Same with the bottom of the A here. I'm going to leave this part of the A for the yellow. Okay, and then everything else, just going to color in with the deco yellow. Okay, and the last little bit of lettering. I am really, really loving how this is turning out. I'm super excited to finish this one. And on the plus side, I think I've only got 4 more works in progress to finish, and then we are a go for the color book show and color flip videos in the first, or in the new year. Okay, so back in with our dioxazine purple hue. Now this F here really does not have much to work with, so I'm not going to bother with that one. I'm going to come in on the bottoms of the eye here. with the processed red. And then the salmon pink. Just fit this in wherever you can. I know I'm not really explaining this part all too much. It's pretty much the same as the area at the top. You're just going to want to try and fit in as many colors as you can and make it kind of look neat. And then lastly, the deco yellow. Oh. Totally forgot about that one. Okay, we're gonna have to go back in with the processed red on this one. You guys are probably watching this like, what is she doing? Does she not realize? And no, I did not. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in with salmon pink, which I'm gonna try and fit a little bit on the F here. And then I'll just finish everything off with the deco yellow. Okay. Now we are actually done. So let's just zoom out here. So here's what she's looking like so far, and we don't really have much more to go now. And I'm actually kind of liking the darker tones but still brighter colors in this. And I'm hoping that adding the gray background will make them pop even more so. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this color along so far. And that's pretty much it. Any questions or comments or suggestions you can put in the comments below, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Thank you.